Hello, friends, and welcome back to Palmetto Springs, my tropical theme park in Planet Coaster 2. In this episode, I'm going to build the park's first roller coaster as well as its scenery, station design, and I'll do some terraforming. This entire project probably took about 6 hours or so to create, but I'm so happy with the results. Thanks so much for joining me today. Let's get started. I'd like to preface this video by saying I am not a roller coaster expert, nor am I a roller coaster enthusiast, but my husband Michael is. So usually when I'm building roller coasters in the game, I like for him to look at them and approve of them, so to speak, just so he can kind of let me know if there's anything that's just like totally uncharacteristic of that type of coaster. So this one I let him look at and he approved of it. When I first began building this coaster, I knew I wanted it to be a wing coaster simply because I love how wing coasters move. They seem to fly by gracefully, and with this being the first coaster in the park, I wanted it to be fairly close to my entrance plaza. I didn't want to have an extreme coaster, although I would classify this as being on an intermediate level. This first draft was very rough, so please do not look at my angles and my metrics and try to copy this. But I wanted to include this in my video so you can see how much back and forth I go through with each element. Although it is not in the video, I spent a lot of time using the ride camera to see how my roller coaster flowed. Coaster building in the game is not one of my favorite aspects of this game, even though this is Planet Coaster. But it is really fun to work on a roller coaster and spend so much time on it, and then you see the finished product and it feels so rewarding. As far as coaster building goes, I don't have many tips other than to try to research the type of coaster you want to build. Look at POVs of that type of coaster on YouTube to see what elements real life ones have. You don't have to get all of the angles right, but it certainly helps to know how tall that type of coaster typically is and try to simulate that in the game. Planet Coaster 2 has really made building coasters and smoothing them fairly easy compared to Planet Coaster 1. As I was creating this coaster, I thought I wanted it to be right up front near my plaza and possibly go over the reflection pool, but I ended up moving it behind my Ferris wheel so that it has its own little plaza. You will see that I use pre-built pieces in the game. I almost always use pre-built pieces that come in the game instead of trying to create my own elements. I'm just not on that level yet where I feel confident in creating my own loops from scratch. More power to you if you can do that, but I don't think I'm there yet. There are so many amazing creators on YouTube, and I often feel like my designs are not expert level, but I have to remind myself that, hey, this is just a game, and if it's something I enjoy doing, I should keep doing it. This first layout is not the final product. And one major change I make to this layout is I do a helix on the end, which I don't think I have that in the recording, but it will be in the final POV for this build. But as I work on this, I also have Well, you'll see I have a wooden coaster that's sitting in the background. That coaster I was playing around with in another park that I was working on, and I decided to put that in this park. So I will be working on the wooden coaster during another video, but it won't be on this video because there was just so much that I was trying to cram into this video for this one roller coaster. It really took me quite a while to get this entire thing done, including the station and the terraforming, but I wanted to include all of that in one video so you're not having to go to another video for the station design or anything like that. It's all in one package for you. So I did a lot of editing for this video to make it work. Now, I've skipped ahead a little bit to the final resting spot for this coaster. You'll see I've changed the color to green, and I'm starting on some terraforming. Now, in this tropical map, it does come with a couple of like little ponds that are already in the map, and so I decided to use one of those and connect it to another sort of pond that I have underneath my coaster, and I thought it would be cool to kind of connect these two little bodies of water with like a little river. And then I also added these sort of hills, and I thought it would be cool to have a waterfall on one of them. So it looks like the waterfall is going into this little river, and then the river will flow into this little pond that I've created towards the end of the coaster. It did take me a while to get the water right because the different levels, I guess you could say. If you've ever played City Skylines, the water kind of just flows naturally from one body of water to, another, depending on, how your landscaping is and things like that. Planet Coaster does not have that ability, so you really have to you set your own water level, and you really have to just try to kind of make it look as natural as possible. Another thing, as I was working on the terraforming, I heavily used the new scenery tool, where you can just plop down a bunch of scenery at once, but it does have its limitations. I remember placing down a bunch of trees. Some of them were floating and some of them weren't, and also the rocks too. Some of them were floating in midair and some of them weren't, so that took a lot of time for me to try to figure out which ones were floating and which ones weren't. So and then that's just one of the things, trying to learn a new tool in the game. So But overall, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I did use the green water, which is like, I think it's called the natural water or something in the game. It looks green, but I thought the turquoise color just looked too unnatural to me. And this coaster is going to be called Jungle Flight, so I wanted it to feel like you're going through a jungle. So having this blue kind of pool color water, I thought it didn't look very, very natural. So, but yeah, overall, I really love the terrain tools that are in the game. I think it really makes it a lot easier to do some landscaping versus in Planet Coaster 1, especially that new scenery tool that you can just plop down a bunch of trees at once. For the life of me right now, I can't remember what that tool is called. But now I'm just going over and just adding a couple of dry spots where my coaster supports are. And also, I apologize. I'm a little bit nasally. I kind of have a little bit of a cold that I'm trying to get over. And so my nose is like very stuffy. And if that comes through the video, I'm sorry. But now we will get started on the station design. So with this station, I kept things very basic. I used a lot of wood pieces. I started off with this very dark green color, and I ended up not being very happy with it, so I ended up changing it to brown and then having kind of a darker green roof. But for the most part, station builds I feel like they can be complicated, or like you can make them complicated, or you can make them easy and like uncomplicated. And this was one that I felt was for the most part pretty uncomplicated. Really the only thing I would say that was a little bit tricky was kind of managing that end part. I had added on to the station a little bit, and then I put a block section on the end so that the second train will be resting there when the train is not active, I guess. So that the walls around that part were a little bit skinnier, and my seats, or like where the guests are on the wings, kind of were running into those walls. So I kind of had to work a little bit on that. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. It was very basic. I only used this wood plank wall piece for the outside. I think I did use a little bit of glass on some pieces, but that was pretty much it. So, and then also working on the pathing. The pathing did take me quite a while to do. I did not include figuring out the pathing in this video because I spent way too long on it. It just took me a while to figure out how to do it. And then I also wanted to have a priority lane. So that was another thing that I had to figure out as well. But yeah, overall, I'm very happy with this station design, and yeah, I hope you enjoy it. As I was building this station, in my head, I was thinking about a jungle sort of theme, but in Planet Coaster 2, at least for now, we don't have some of the same pieces that we used to have in Planet Coaster 1. Particularly, there was a piece that I can't remember if it was, I don't think it was ivy, but it was some sort of plant that was like a vine, and it seemed kind of like jungly, and we don't have that in Planet Coaster 2. We have, I think we have some ivy and we have some wisteria, and I think there might be some climbing roses. I can't remember exactly what all of the climbing plants are that we have, but it was not none of them were the plants that I was wanting. So yeah, so so in my head I was like, okay, I will make this green station design and I will make it seem like there's all these plants, kind of growing on it. And we didn't have the plants that I was looking for, so that did not happen. And as I was building it, from the video, you can see that it is a dark green, but it seemed a little too dark, so I ended up changing the color. And then also the roof, I originally had it kind of like a black, or maybe that's a very, very dark gray. And it just wasn't the vibe that I was going for, so I ended up changing those colors later on. Once I built the roof, I thought I would have a little bit of open air, just to have some airflow throughout the station. I can't remember if, do roller coaster stations typically have AC or not? I guess maybe some do and some don't, but this one probably wouldn't. I guess I'll just say that. This one probably wouldn't. So I wanted to have some sort of airflow. So I decided to have these wooden pillars going to kind of support at least partially some of the roof. It wasn't exactly totally, what's the word? To where everything was totally lined up. So I did have to kind of get creative and move some of these pillars around. But for the most part, they are mostly spaced out 4 meters apart. And then I thought that was too much space. So I did add in a 1 meter wall. As I said previously, probably the hardest aspect of this build was working on this little section here, where towards the end of the coaster, and it's where the block section is. And so I had a hard time figuring out the roofing for that spot because it's skinnier than I would have liked. And then I also needed to make enough space so that when the train came through, the seats aren't hitting the wall. So it was a little bit tricky, but in the end, I ended up having kind of a half roof on it, and that seemed to work best. I did try a couple of different types of roof elevations, I guess. But yeah, the half roof was what I ended up going with. For the interior of this station, I did not do much, but for this portion of the roof, it was floating inside, and so I ended up putting in a thick wooden beam to support it inside the station. I couldn't use columns because that's where like the guests will be standing in line. So I ended up putting in a beam, like a beam to support it. And I don't think I actually have that in the video because it looked a little weird as I was doing it. So it didn't look pretty. But other than that, on the inside, I really didn't do anything. I just added in some lighting, and that was it. Now I finally have my station design done. Basically, I'm just adding in some lettering with the name of the coaster on it. I'm just using these bubble letters, and I do hope that they add in some more lettering in the game. I don't know if they're going to do that, but I mean, I guess these letters are okay, but I really wish they had some more options for us. But I know they gave us a bunch of editable signs that we can use, but I'm not really a fan of these fonts. But after this, I work on the, let's see, what do I work on after this? So where my cues are, I put in some supports underneath those, and then I also add in some railings to line my cues, and then really the only other thing left to do after that is I create some signage where my priority pass lane is, and then I also just do another sign for my coaster. So to support these little stairwells or stairways here, I just use a wooden beam, and then I also use a freeform wooden piece, and I just kind of play around with it, but to kind of create my own little angles for it so that it works, and then I just copy that over to the other stairs, and that is it. Now I'm working on adding in just some basic signs for my priority lane and my general entry queue. And I just use this Viking sign for both, and then I put some wooden posts as the supports for this. I was thinking that this was going to be like a jungle, like the name of the coaster, and I was like, no, that's not going to work. This is too basic. So I think I may end up putting in like some more scenery around these queue lines later on, but for now I'm just keeping things really simple. And I have the same railing on all of them, and then I also add in a little bit of trees and plants in the surrounding, like the vicinity, and that's pretty much it. So keeping things really simple. I am planning on adding some more decoration to this little plaza here, possibly a fountain in the middle, or maybe changing up some of the pathing design just so it looks a little bit more interesting. I will add in some benches and some trash cans and some lighting for it as well. But I have not worked on that yet, so I will do that. That will be another addition to this little area. So now you can see the final product of all the work we've done in this episode. I'm ending the episode with a POV of this coaster. I really appreciate you all joining me, and I'll see you guys next time.